Connected Zimbabwe. Visit our website today to explore our services and solutions.
Buy an orange cupcake, kids can wristband or orange scarf this February and help TM Pick and Pay support children living with cancer. TM Pick and Pay, real value always. It's time for the news.
Thank you for joining us here on the main news. I am Justin Matlatline. Susan Masona will interpret the news in sign language.
And I'm Tariro Manamike with Dora Ngube at our Montrose studios, and we'll be joining her a little bit later on to give us part of the bulletin. But for now, let's take a look at the leading headlines tonight.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa launches Digital Ambassadors Program.
He rallied the nation to harness new technologies to foster social cohesion.
Police recover 70,000 United States dollars worth of stolen copper cables in Chitumbiza.
Zimbabwe prepares for National Youth Day celebrations in Bulawayo.
With main highlights on innovation hubs established across the country.
And in sport, Mighty Warriors gear up for Crunch CAF Women's AFCON qualifier against Angola tomorrow.
Now to the news in detail. President Emmerson Mnangagwa has challenged communities to harness new technologies in safeguarding, preserving and promoting social cohesion to ensure a productive nation.
We get more details in the upcoming report.
The call to harness new technologies was made at the launch of the Digital Ambassadors Program and the handover of a dig truck, which will see the empowerment of 1,500 youths. Officially launching the program at State House in Harare this Wednesday, President Mnangagwa implored the citizenry to use information and communication technologies responsibly.
As custodians of our rich national heritage, I call upon our traditional leaders to rally communities to leverage the National Digital Ambassadors Program and Presidential Internet Scheme to safeguard, preserve and promote our culture, values and norms. Communities across the country are called upon to use ICTs and related applications responsibly. These new technologies must help foster social cohesion, unity, peace, love and harmony, ultimately leading to a productive as well as connected digital society. Those with the tendency of fueling divisions among communities will be punished.
President Mnangagwa said the National Digital Ambassadors Program is meant to equip youths and communities with the dig truck set to ensure every corner of the country is covered.
In keeping with the devolution agenda, the National Digital Ambassadors Program will help ensure that digital skills are devolved in every corner of Zimbabwe, leaving no one and no place behind. 100 digital ambassadors will be deployed in each province to deliver strategic and inclusive digital literacy training across the country, especially in marginalized communities of Motherland, Zimbabwe. These tech-savvy ambassadors will serve as accelerators of the uptake of digital literacy, fostering innovation and supporting local businesses, schools and households in harnessing technology for development.
The project and other initiatives have the potential to unlock opportunities for inclusion.
To bolster this effort, the Presidential Internet Program will be launched and deploy technology such as low Earth orbit satellite services across marginalized communities. The e-enabling infrastructure We will complement existing services to bring high-speed internet closer to the villages, schools and clinics, and community centers, while empowering farmers and entrepreneurs among other users.
The National Digital Ambassadors Program is expected to train 1,500 youths in the next 3 years. Bruce Chawanda, SABC News, Harare.
The launch of the Digital Skills Ambassador Program and the deployment of DigiTrucks is expected to accelerate Zimbabwe into becoming a digital society by 2030.
The DigiTrucks will be deployed in all the country's 10 provinces to devolve digital literacy through harnessing over 10,000 digital ambassadors. The development is yet another great partnership with the friendly nations, including the United Arab Emirates and China, with an estimated 1.5 million people set to benefit from the program within 3 years.
The Digital Ambassadors Program and DigiTruck program, I want to reaffirm that China remains an unwavering supporter for Zimbabwe's digitalization drive, and we are keen to work with our Zimbabwe friends to ensure that each and everyone, regardless of their background, has the opportunity to thrive in this digital era.
ICT, Postal and Courier Services Minister Honorable Tatenda Mavetera says this game-changing program marks the dawn of a new era of a digitalized Zimbabwean society.
It's crucial to equip Zimbabweans with essential digital skills, enabling them to interact, innovate, and thrive in the digital landscape. Today, we also celebrate the generosity of Huawei Technologies, who have donated a state-of-the-art mobile digital truck. This innovative mobile smart laboratory will bring digital skills training to the doorsteps of underserved and marginalized communities, ensuring that no one and no place is left behind. The DigiTruck features a 10 kilowatt solar powered system that supports a mobile digital laboratory, which also has got batteries which can last for more than 3 days without any recharge. It can also accommodate 20 students and 1 instructor, with each person having access to a laptop. Additionally, there is a 65-inch smart screen for digital skills training. With internet connectivity,
it emerged the deployment of the digital truck will be underpinned by several telecommunications entities.
Been doing very well in connecting the underserved communities. We see Starlink as an effective technology in bridging the digital divide, because you basically have internet everywhere where even terrestrial networks don't reach. So that will be our role in ensuring that digital transformation initiatives succeed, through connectivity.
With the launch of this DigiTruck, I think it's a good opportunity, because as the DigiTruck moves in the rural areas, it will have to rely on the Starlink satellite services for connectivity, because there's no fiber in those areas.
Meanwhile, telecommunications players who attended the launch pledged to mobilize more DigiTrucks to complement government's efforts towards creating a digital economy. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Harare.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa has sworn in a Minister of State, 2 deputy ministers, 2 commissioners, and the chief magistrate at the State House in Harare this Wednesday. That report from our chief correspondent, Ruben Barwe.
Comrade Itai Ndudzo, Member of Parliament for Wedza North, is now the new Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution. And the 2 deputy ministers are for local government, that Tawanda Mavunga from Keta, whilst Mines and Mining Development has a 2nd deputy minister, Comrade Caleb Makwira Jou from Mutoko North. Human Rights Commission has Adeli Sisibuta, whilst Zimbabwe Lands Commission Ozias Howe and the new Chief Magistrate, Mrs. Wongai Palma Guriro, were all sworn by the head of state at State House in Harare. Here some of them speak.
I consider this to be a privilege to be chosen out of a province with 1.8 million people who are competent, who are qualified, who are experienced. So I want to greatly thank His Excellency, the President of the Republic, for considering me as being worthy the trust and the responsibility of serving him in the province, together with the other leaders who are already installed in various government ministries, agencies, departments, and the traditional leadership of Mashonaland East Province.
I would like to think he saw an opportunity to serve well under his leadership and drive the vision, which is Vision 2030, that he has clearly outlined, and I'm going to run with that to the best of my ability and ensure that my portfolio delivers according to the expectations laid out by the President and my immediate boss, Minister Garu.
I mean, the special area of oil and gas and the strategic minerals. That's the area I'm going to focus on.
It's hard work, commitment to serve, being mindful of the principles guiding the judiciary as highlighted by the Constitution and being a guard dog of the Constitution.
I was serving in the office of the National Chairman for Land Acquisition, who was late Vice President Joseph Musika. And I was Director of Land Policy and Acquisition and Administration.
The Zimbabwe Constitution bid them to be sworn in by the head of state before they started their duties. Ruben Barwez, ZBC News, State of Harare.
Mr. Leonard Matambandini Kashiri, who died on the 14th of February at the age of 103, has been buried at Yeovil Cemetery in Mutare. His long life was celebrated by the government, the church, his family and friends.
People from all walks of life thronged Yeovil Cemetery to lay to rest Sekuru Leonard Kashiri, who passed away on the 14th of February this month. Vice President General retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga first went to the Kashiri residence in Murambi, Mutare, before proceeding to Holy Name Anglican Church in Sakuva for a church service, where he described the late as a humble father whose legacy of love and unity should guide the family, the church and the nation.
At the time of his passing on, Sekuru Kashiri was aged 103 years. An indication of a long life worth celebrating. During his early life, the late Sekuru Kashiri worked at St. Faith Mission as a building instructor, teaching bricklaying and concreting. He built most of the buildings we see today at the Anglican institution. Sekuru Kashiri was a respected member of the community, God-fearing man, and an ardent churchgoer at the Anglican Church. I urge you, Anton, as the firstborn and family, to continue with Sekuru Kashiri's legacy by guiding and leading the family in prayer and in love.
The late Sekuru Kashiri's firstborn child, Mr. Anton Kashiri, who is husband to the Minister of Defense, Comrade Opamchinguri Kashiri, says the family is humbled by the love and condolences coming from people from all walks of life.
Vangwari family men, vakatikudza tiri vana 8 mumba. As a family man, he was a disciplinarian. It was a blessing to have a man like him. Munaina mata.
The late Sekuru Kashiri is remembered by fellow church members and the government officials as an ardent Christian.
Baba wangu ari mubvuyi akanga achipanga mazano kune vamwe vabvuyi. Chita chedu chevabvuyi chita chakasimba chana baba vanokurudzira vana baba vamwe kuti vafambe nzira dzaMwari dzakatendeka, vagarisane zvakanaka mudzimba nekutsigira urongwa hwechechi.
Izvi zvinotiratidza kuti mutungamiriri wenyika anorespekta vatana. Long life is what he cherishes, and as Manicaland tiri kunzwa kuremekedzwa tichitendawo mureko Kashiri nematambudziko asi tinovatenda kuti vakachengetera baba.
The burial was attended by several ministers, ZANU-PF Politburo members and other government officials. The late Sekuru Kashiri is survived by 4 children, 22 grandchildren and 55 great-grandchildren. Kenya's Chivuje, ZBC News, Mutare.
A media indaba hosted by the Zimbabwe Union of Journalists in Harare this Wednesday brought to the fore the importance of the media industry as a crucial partner in national development.
The media indaba brought together stakeholders to discuss the critical role of the media in nation building and to explore ways to promote a robust and professional journalism fraternity in Zimbabwe. The Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Dr. Jennifer Muswere, emphasized the importance of well-paid and professional journalists in achieving Zimbabwe's vision of an upper middle income society by 2030.
We've said let's focus on Vision 2030. We've been very clear. Let's focus on socio-economic issues. Let's focus on developmental issues. For the media cannot survive as an institution, as an estate, if the economy is not performing well. If the economy continues to grow, and the IMF even revised our targets upwards, that this economy continues to grow. Let's focus on that. This will also ensure that the media industry also grows. But we are very open. We want you to criticize. We want you to write about the truth. We want you to ensure that we leave no one and no place behind in terms of access to information, in terms of access to education. But it is also the responsibility of ZUJ and its membership to be part of a democratic process, to be part of reality, to be part of nation building. For an informed and an educated nation is very important for nation building.
Panel discussions at the Indaba raised important questions about government's commitment to defending media freedom and promoting a favorable working environment.
To what extent, as our minister, whom we are dialoguing and engaging with, are you defending our terrain, our space in cabinet, with your principals and colleagues, that there are other avenues to engage and address the media where you have been bereaved?
The first issue is the environment, that we can discuss these issues openly. The second issue is that in order to grow a media industry, the most important aspect is related to constitutional obligations. Section 61 and Section 62. Like I have indicated that we've been supporting and we will continue to support the freedom of expression and the freedom of media. And how do we support that? By ensuring that we put in place a framework that allows members of the fourth estate to have access to information in terms of Section 62 of the Constitution. I'll relate to the post-cabinet meetings that all of you attend. By invitation, each and every member of the fourth estate has an opportunity to come, to ask questions, to critique, to seek clarification on any matter. The second issue, you also have the president meets the editors and the journalists at State House, and will continue in terms of that tradition and trajectory.
Zimbabwe Union of Journalists President George Maponga said such engagements are necessary for the development of the media industry.
The Indaba was actually a platform to breathe oxygen into the lungs of the media industry in Zimbabwe, specifically looking at issues that are afflicting the media industry, journalism in particular. I think you're quite aware that we have a number of outstanding issues that we feel were drawing the industry back, issues to do with the standardization of the profession itself. We also spoke about issues to do with the remuneration in the media industry. I think as you're quite aware that the industry is grappling with the
poor salaries.
The event was also attended by officials from the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Media, Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Zimbabwe Media Commission, Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe, and Media Alliance of Zimbabwe. Abigail Tembo, ZBC News, Harare.
The government, the business community and Labour have pledged to work together to ensure Zimbabwe achieves the projected 6% growth target by the end of the year.
A business environmental dialogue held in Harare this Wednesday created a platform for government, business and labour to engage under the banner of the Tripartite Negotiating Forum TNF. Where the three parties are reviewing the current economic climate, identifying challenges and proposing solutions, the business community expects dialogue to foster growth.
We are very much committed to come up with solutions. I believe last week we came up with recommendations to say, can maybe government come up, scrape some of the challenges that we are having. A good example, licensing, a good example, utilities, and the president has responded to that.
Labour is expecting sustainable measures to foster productivity.
We are just still committed to work with everybody, that is business and government, to see how best we can also come up with a win-win situation where the workers can have a life.
State Enterprises Restructuring Agency Executive Director Mr. Onisimo Musi, who was representing chairperson of the TNF Technical Committee, Mr. Willard Manongo, said the government is committed to the negotiating forum.
All the three parties do need each other for our economy to move forward, to progress. There are many challenges at the moment facing our economy, and the government in particular is coming to the TNF with an open mind, with an attitude which says we should listen to the many challenges facing our economy, to the difficulties in our economy facing our businesses.
Zimbabwe is expecting the economy to register a 6% growth this year, driven by agriculture, mining, construction, manufacturing, retail and distribution sectors. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
Government is set to review the War Victims Compensation Act to ensure it caters for injuries or deaths which occurred after independence.
This emerged at the ongoing 3-day National Stakeholder Dialogue, which is focusing on humanitarian demining and providing support to landmines victims.
The War Victims Compensation Act provides for compensation for injuries or deaths caused by the liberation struggle before the 1st of March 1980. However, more people have continued to be affected by landmines after 1980. It is with this in mind that government is considering reviewing the act to ensure it also caters for those injured after independence.
Kune mtemo unotaura kuti izvo vakakuvara nekuda kwehondo kusvika musi wa 1 March ndo vanogona kuwana compensation kana kubatsirwa, asi tinoona kuti izvo nekuda kwehondo zvimbambaira zvanga zvakatewa munzvimbo dzakasiyana siyana zvose izvo zvinokwanisa kunge zvichitorwa, saka zviri kuenda mberi zvichingokuvadza vanhu. Naizvozvo munhu anenge atokuvara nechimbambaira atokuvara nekuda kwezvinhu zvakaiswa nekuda kwehondo. Saka tiri kuzama kuchigadzirisa mutemo kuti izvo uchiti ukavhe neavo vazokuvarawo after date rakatarwa re1 March 1980.
Our ministry oversees the Disabled People's Act, and a lot of the people who were injured are disabled, and our ministry oversees their welfare. So we don't do this alone as a ministry. We have adopted a whole of government approach where different ministries also play a part. We have the Ministry of Finance, we have the Ministry of War Veterans, we have all other ministries that have something to do with victims of landmines.
Development partners have commended the Second Republic for strides made in supporting victims of landmines.
I must commend Zimbabwe for the work it's doing to support victims. What we see is that victims of anti-personnel mines are supported, but they have to be integrated into national policies concerning support to persons with disabilities, as well as support to veterans of war and support to to the human rights framework of persons with disabilities.
Government has made a commitment to eliminate the deadly legacy of landmines, ensuring safer communities and sustainable development, with $2 million United States having already been set aside for the program this year. Peter Chivima, ZBC News, Harare.
The Zimbabwe Republic Police has recovered stolen copper cables worth 70,000 United States dollars in Chitungwiza. We get the details in the next report.
The loot was recovered after Zimbabwe Republic Police detectives from the Criminal Investigation Department received information and tracked a Honda Fit vehicle carrying copper cables. The ZRP details followed the vehicle to a company at Tiuko Industries where more loads of copper cables were recovered. ZRP National Spokesperson Commissioner Ponyati confirmed the recovery and arrest of the suspect.
The police received information, firstly, concerning a Honda Fit, which was carrying some copper cables, and it was tracked leading to Tiuko Industries in Chitungwiza, where the Honda Fit was searched. In the process, copper cables were recovered.
Theft and vandalism of ZESA infrastructure have for long been a thorn in the flesh of both the power utility and electricity users amid delays in replacement of stolen property, hence prolonged power cuts. The suspects are expected to appear in court soon. Peter Chivima, ZBC News, Harare.
Residents of Harare's Greystone Park suburb have raised concern over continuous underground flames emerging from the Stratford Flay wetlands.
The perpetual underground flames have become a source of concern for residents in Greystone Park, who are calling for a lasting solution to the problem. The flames, which have been burning for years, have raised fears of unexpected fires that could destroy homes and lives.
Vanhu vakapisa area yacho atiri mukati menzvimbo inei mune yaunoti ivhu racho rakaita kunge ndoo yemombe saka riri too light saka mune gasi ririmo roti moto ukatsva pakabatidzwa moto ukatanga kubvira vanhu vakatanga kupisidzira panopatanga kutsva moto uri easy kubatira nemethane gas kana uchitsva masikati moto hautombooneki kuti pane moto panenge pari silent only moto unowanika
Environmental Management Agency spokesperson Ms. Amgela Sitange says mitigation measures have been in place since 2019.
The agency, working with the community, came up with a strategy to kind of contain the fire through digging trenches around the most affected areas. That was just meant to basically contain the fire from burning into the neighboring areas. And at the same time, the community was sensitized on sustainable management of the same wetland area, including avoiding the dumping and burning of waste in the same flare.
Despite efforts to manage the ecological anomaly, the residents live in constant fear of losing their properties from unexpected fires. Farai Gwaze, ZBC News, Harare.
Now, for these and more stories, you can visit our website. That's www.zbc.co.zw. You can also follow us on all our social media platforms. That's at ZBC News Online.
And here are stories still to come in this bulletin. Zimbabwe prepares for National Youth Day celebrations in Bulawayo, with main highlights on innovation hubs established across the country. Mighty Warriors gear up for Crunch CAF Women's AFCON qualifier against Angola tomorrow. That in our sports outlook. We'll be back with these stories and more. Stay with us.
Stroke of genius! Introduce the stroke of genius. Oh! Zimbabwe yakuzosimuka manje. Stroke of genius andiri kureva chera. President E.D. Mnangagwa vari kupa mabankable, registrable and transferable title deeds na every farmer akapuwa munda pa land reform program. Takanga takapuwa minda asi takanga tisina simba rekupinda mumabhengi semama business kuti tipewo maloni akachipa tatakuwara nezvimbazo man. zvino nestroke of genius yekupuwa matitle deeds tikupinduka mubhengi sevamwe totopuwa maloni takutodevelopa mafamu
saka kudiudza kuti land yese yatoneva
ende ukapuwa title deed iroro chiyera mundu wako uchatoreki atova nhaka yevazukuru nevazukuru ndo zvinoda fama manje izvozvo security of tenure
iwe pandiri panapa ndakutokwanisa kutopa vana nhaka kuti chidimu chako ichi chemunda chidimu chako ichi
exactly
zvichifambiswa sei
president Idi Mnangagwa igenius manje vakabva vati kuti zvinyatsofamba negwara rakatwasanuka zviri transparent ndobva vagadza inonzi land tenure implementation committee iri kushanda nemamwe mapazi ehurumende
alright but iwo unozviziva iwo kuti kune maland barons akazara ukanopamba minda dzevanhu
dai vatoregera zvavo ndiwo ukopokopo husiri kudiwa napresident Mnangagwa iroro ndosaka land tenure implementation committee yakati ngatishandisei ma-ID numbers namba dzepachitupa kuti munhu haakwanisi kuva nemafamu maviri plus land tenure iyi committee haisi kupa minda patsvayo iri kutwasanudza pakupiwa kwematitle deeds
iwe saka zvichireva kuti taatoprotected kasevarimi
exactly manje
kumaziva
kuti nestroke of genius here president Idi apa vasikira vana vezimbabwe upfumi
Zimbabwe Youth Council will be hosting the annual National Youth Day celebrations. The 2025 celebrations will be held in Bulawayo Metropolitan Province, the City of Kings, at the ZITF grounds, Hall 2, 3, and the main event being in Hall 4 from the 20th to the 21st of February 2025. His Excellency, the President, Dr. Idi Mnangagwa, will be the guest of honor on the main event on the 21st of February. Activities include roadshows, music and dance, exhibitions, cleanup campaign, youth service displays, youth digital skills launch with free Wi-Fi and many more. Don't miss out. Be there and be square. Hashtag Empower the Youth, Secure the Future.
My family has come a long way from when we started out in Mutoko. We've paid off the stand in town and built our own place. Our family is growing, but I guess some things don't change.
It's fun.
My mom used to bath me just like this. New Aura Beauty Soap for skin that glows, from the House of Zimgold.
The Civil Registry Department wishes to advise its valued clients and stakeholders that the department is currently upgrading the civil registration system. This upgrade is aimed at enhancing efficiency, security, and service delivery. During this period, there may be temporary disruptions or delays in processing civil registration documents, and members of the public are urged to bear with us during this period. The department sincerely apologizes for any inconvenience this may cause and appreciates your patience and understanding. Our team is working diligently to ensure that the system meets the expected results. The Civil Registry Department remains committed to improving services and ensuring a smoother experience for all. Thank you for your cooperation. Civil Registry Department, caring for vital civil registration events and travel documents.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. The Broadcasting Services Amendment Bill has been approved by the Parliamentary Legal Committee, paving way for the second reading of the bill in Parliament any time from now.
Following nationwide consultations, the Broadcasting Services Amendment Bill was taken to Parliament by the Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Dr. Jennifer Mswere, this Wednesday, where it was approved by the Parliamentary Legal Committee ahead of its second reading in the August House. The bill seeks to, among other things, make it mandatory for motorists to buy a radio license before obtaining a vehicle license disc and insurance cover, with only those able to show they have no radio in their car being exempted. Meanwhile, government has reassured the nation that the country's supplies of antiretroviral drugs are adequate, hence the need to switch off the panic button. The assurance by the Minister of Health and Child Care, Dr. Douglas Mombeshora, came after parliamentarians raised concern over availability of the life-saving drugs, particularly in light of US President Donald Trump's directive to halt funding for such programs. The lawmakers also queried steps being taken by government to provide clean water to the citizenry in urban areas, with the leader of government business, Honorable Ziyambi, expressing confidence that privatizing water services will be the lasting solution.
The availability and provision of water to the private sector so that it's managed efficiently. Our local authorities dismally failed to ensure that we get potable, clean and potable water. The billing system has been shambles, and I'm sure all of us will agree. So the thrust really is to improve on efficiency in terms of collecting revenue, so that we do not have to depend on a monthly basis from the fiscus to fund the water purification.
The state of the country's roads also came under the spotlight, with the government pledging to continue with rehabilitation efforts. Peter Chivima, ZBC News, Harare.
Well, we now cross over to our Montrose studios in Bulawayo, where we join Dora Ngube. It's a good evening, and it's over to you, Dora.
Thank you so much, Justin and Tari. A lovely evening to you. A lovely evening to our viewers. And we continue with the main news. As the National Youth Day celebrations draw near, government has taken significant strides in providing platforms for youths to be innovative through the establishment of innovation hubs across the country. More from the following report.
Government's commitment to youth innovation is evident in the innovation hubs being established across the country, contributing to the growth of the nation's economy. Tertiary students and youths have expressed their gratitude for these initiatives, highlighting the positive impact innovation hubs have had on their lives.
Giving us the right platform to come up with ideas actually an important role of encouraging us to venture into entrepreneurship, which will definitely create more jobs for our economy and for the graduates.
In line with Education 5.0, we are looking at a situation where by 2030 we've got more people from Zimbabwe being the spearheads of these big inventions.
As Science, we are developing robotics and coding infrastructure for schools to adopt those curriculums so that they be actively involved in the digital world, and the infrastructure which is already about AI, is already about IoT.
As Zimbabwe celebrates National Youth Day, there's a growing call for continued investment in youth innovation.
If only there were some funds which the students can access, in terms of developing their innovations, that will go a long way in ensuring that the innovations and the prototypes that students are developing, they are of high quality. The private sector also needs to come on board in terms of funding or setting aside innovation funds.
With continuous support and investment, youths are earmarked to play a pivotal role in achieving Vision 2030, which aims to transform Zimbabwe into an upper middle income society status. Ilandmo, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Beitbridge District Hospital is earmarked for expansion to cater for the rapid population growth and infrastructure development as the Second Republic targets to attain universal health coverage in line with Vision 2030.
The border town of Beitbridge has experienced rapid growth in population and infrastructure due to the $300 million United States Beitbridge modernization project. The growth has, however, created a need for critical services like health and wellness of the population. As such, there is consensus among stakeholders that Beitbridge District Hospital, with its 140-bed capacity, cannot sufficiently service the 60,000 residents and the transit population. It is with this in mind that government has set in motion plans to expand the hospital in line with the Vision 2030 drive.
Chipatara chedu chino cheBeitbridge chinochona chipatara chakanaka chaizvo changa chakavakwa panguva ichi chiakomodita vanhu vashoma. Chipatara ichi chakuakomodita vanhu vawandisa. So now muurongwa hwehurumende hweministry izvo tatine urongwa hwekuti toda kuti chipatara chino tichivanduze mamiro acho kuti chikure kuti chikwanise kuti chigokwanisa kuti vanhu vava vachimboonekwa apa va multiply maybe by 3 or 4 vachionekwa pano vachibatsirwa nokukurumidza sezvo takatarisa nekuti nzvimbo ino inosangana nematambudziko akawanda etsaona idzo dzemugwagwa.
Beitbridge Hospital rose to the task after a horrific accident that claimed 25 people, with statistics showing no deaths to those admitted at the health facility.
Currently, we are only left with 2 that are admitted in female ward. They are recovering very well, and I am hopeful one of the patients is going to be discharged today. The other one, we are still stabilizing because she sustained a pelvic fracture. So after stabilization, she is going to be transferred to Gwanda and probably Bulawayo.
Beitbridge District Hospital is a referral center for all the rural health service centers in Beitbridge District, serving 60,000 residents of the border town and transit population. Providence Maranelli, ZBC News, Beitbridge.
The inaugural National Competitiveness Commission Summit, which began in Bulawayo this Wednesday, is focusing on enhancing Zimbabwe's economic competitiveness and driving sustainable economic growth.
The 2-day summit marks a significant step in Zimbabwe's efforts to enhance its economic competitiveness by creating a platform for stakeholders to engage on ways of improving the country's competitiveness. Industrialists and the business community applauded the platform, emphasizing the need for a holistic approach, recognizing that competitiveness is not solely about cost reduction, but also about value creation, innovation, and efficiency.
Well, this is the first ever forum to talk competitiveness on a very serious note. So I think it is very key to align stakeholder views and expectations and also come up with shared solutions in dealing with competitiveness issues that are hemorrhaging this economy. This range from enterprise level issues, structural issues, police related issues, which require some immediate attention.
There's a realization from government level that there's need to be competitive, especially when you look at the African continental free trade area. There are a lot of issues that we need to address so that we compete at both regional level, continental level, and international level. At local level, there are costs that are impacting heavily on business, and these are mainly regulatory costs, which account for about 18 to 20% of the overhead.
This summit is coming at a very opportune right time for us to deliberate on how we create the level of stability which will make Zimbabwe products reach the pre-1997 level, where we were biggest after South Africa within SADC in terms of product availability and affordability.
The Minister of Industry and Commerce, Honorable Mangaliso Ndlovu, reiterated government's commitment to creating a conducive environment for businesses to thrive.
I can assure you that Cabinet deliberated on this issue for not less than 3 hours, and clearly there is concern that it's an area that we have maybe not focused on as much as we should. Since 2019, I think the last time we had that Global Competitiveness Index published is the last time we then lost focus on addressing competitiveness issues. I am happy that OPC has rekindled that, which is a cabinet decision that emanated from that discussion to say, let's go back to addressing those issues. We have seen what the president has done in coming up with innovation hubs so that our students from tertiary institutions begin to exercise their minds in coming up with breakthrough innovations.
By bringing together key stakeholders and fostering dialogue, the summit is expected to generate valuable insights and recommendations for driving sustainable economic growth and development as Zimbabwe moves towards the attainment of Vision 2030. Hiland Moy, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Zimbabwe and the UN Tourism have concluded an agreement to set up a Culinary Academy in Victoria Falls. Construction works are expected to begin mid-year, while the facility is targeted to open its doors in 2028.
In July last year, UN Tourism and Zimbabwe signed a Memorandum of Understanding to mark the establishment of the Zimbabwe International Tourism Academy for the Culinary Arts in Victoria Falls. It is against this background that the Minister of Tourism and Hospitality Industry, Honorable Barbara Rodzi, was recently in Spain to tie the loose ends. Minister Rodzi told ZBC News that construction of the school to be named after the First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, for her sterling efforts in promoting gastronomy tourism will begin this winter.
We are expecting to start the construction mid-year. From July going forward, we should start the construction. It must last us 2 years. The school must open 2028.
The school will be established within the Masue Special Economic Zone, which will also put Zimbabwe on the global map and provide employment.
If United Nations is coming to be a part of us, anyone else can come to be a part of us. So it drives more investment in the country, but more so for us in tourism, it's about endorsing the destination. We already have the ground because this whole land, 271 hectares, belongs to the Ministry of Tourism and Hospitality Industry through Moswatunya. So the land for the school is already there. It's a 9-hectare land for the school which is ready and which is already on the subdivision. What we just need is to start work, as you can see here.
Under the MOU, UN Tourism will provide the expertise and curriculum while Zimbabwe work on the actual infrastructure and running of the school. Tichaona Kurewa, ZBC News, Victoria Falls.
And all that's it from us here at Montrose. And Justin, I understand you guys had good rains today.
Certainly, Dora, we had some rains, quite refreshing considering the heat, but we are happy that the Lord continues to remember us. And now continuing with the bulletin, media agencies within the advertising industry this Wednesday had an opportunity to appreciate the scope of advertising on the Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation's various platforms.
Leading advertising agencies that attended an engagement organized by the Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation at Pocket Hill Studios in Harare this Wednesday are keen to foster relations with the national broadcaster.
We've been invited by ZBC to come and discuss advertising opportunities. I know we've been supporting ZBC or advertising on ZBC for a very long time.
We are thrilled and happy as multimedia to be invited by ZBC to their stakeholder engagement. They want to take us through their digital platforms, their programs on their stations. So we are really grateful, and we hope our stakeholders will be able to partake into their programming. We are here to focus on the future of business together with ZBC, how we can move forward together.
We wanted to engage and to see what ZBC can offer to the advertising industry.
So for us as an advertising agent, which is effective media, we are more into media buying and coming up with a concept for clients. So the significance is it helps us to know the exact programs, where to place our clients' products on, and for them to get a higher reach.
ZBC Director of Marketing, Mr. Fredius Zumbunu, says ZBC is transforming its digital advertising platforms.
We invited the advertising agencies to come to ZBC today because these are key stakeholders when it comes to our business at ZBC. Remember, we are also transforming from the traditional advertising, where we are now coming up with the digital advertising.
The stakeholder engagement is expected to foster stronger relations and offer new advertising opportunities. Farai Gwaze, ZBC News, Harare.
Persons with disabilities in Zimbabwe have called for greater inclusivity in the construction of public spaces, citing challenges in accessing buildings.
For individuals with disabilities, navigating the city of Harare can be a daunting task as numerous buildings pose significant barriers to entry, hindering their accessibility and independence. Several individuals shared their experiences, with this news crew highlighting the need for greater inclusivity in the construction of public spaces.
Munane visually impaired kana achifamba ega anodawo pano pane railway maybe baka zvaketa zvimapose zvesvo kuti maybe ukazoti iri rakatangira apa richiperera apa ndasvika apa apa, so it means kuti ndauda kutena maybe kuti ndipinde umu kana kuti ndipinde mu this office kana ariwo munhu wewheelchair anenge achidawo ramp, let's say kunhu kwari kuenda upstairs, so that zvinoita kuti asvike uko kusvika neuyu because kana pasina ramp auda utakuru.
Even sometimes my facilities, my entertainment facilities, kumabhora chichi dzimwe nzvimbo dzakatikwanise kudziaccessa nekuda kwekuti hadzisi disability friendly.
Time yandaimboenda kuningi kuma exercise kuCRU taikwira masteps ndisaka ndaitoita kubereka, saka akasvika 22 years ndichita kubereka tichikwira masteps kuenda second floor maweni marooms eningi eCRU, saka zvinhu zvinorema especially kumubereki.
The National Association of Societies for the Care of the Handicapped, NASCO, is supporting the call for greater accessibility in buildings design.
We are engaging private companies especially so that they can also be inclusive. So for them to be inclusive, we are also targeting their working environments, whether they are accessible to persons with disabilities. So we are carrying out accessibility audits to see whether they are meeting the standards or not. If there are gaps, then we sit down with them and point out those gaps, and then they try to address those gaps.
The call for disability-friendly buildings is in line with the National Disability Policy of 2021, which states that buildings and public facilities must be accessible to persons with disabilities.
We're off to a break. We'll return with business news thereafter.
The Zimbabwe Tourism Authority is calling all operators of tourist facilities who have not registered or those with expired licenses and certificates to come forward and register their facilities in compliance with the provisions of Section 36 of the Tourism Act, Chapter 14, 20 of 1996 by 15 February 2025. According to Statutory Instrument Number 106 of 1996, categories of the tourist facilities that must be registered with the Zimbabwe Tourism Authority include but are not limited to conference organizers, restaurants, whether in hotel or otherwise, fast food restaurants, vehicle, bicycle, boat, bus hire, courier shops, tour operators, hunting operators, tour guides, non-hotel conference facilities and venues, travel agents including those online, accommodation including hotels, lodges, guest houses, camps and campsites, bed and breakfast accommodation, Airbnb accommodation, visitor attractions including game parks, farms, art galleries, visitor activities including golf, horse riding, bungee jumping, wedding venues, picnic or braai sports, open air function venues. All facilities that register or renew their licenses and certificates on or before the 15th of February 2025 will have no penalties charged. From the 1st of March 2025, the Zimbabwe Tourism Authority, in conjunction with law enforcement agents, will be deployed to bring all unregistered facilities to book. For further information and assistance, please do not hesitate to contact us at the Zimbabwe Tourism Authority offices that are located across the country. Travel and experience Zimbabwe. Zimbo.
Feeling overwhelmed, anxious, or struggling with difficult emotions? Do you feel like giving up? No matter what you are going through, you don't have to carry that burden alone. The Ministry of Health and Childcare, together with its partners, brings you the Parirenyatwa Psychological Support Center to help you. Call our toll-free hotline 2024, where trained professionals are available to listen and offer confidential support, guidance, and coping strategies tailored to your needs without judgment. Your mental health is important, and we are committed to helping you navigate life's challenges with the support you deserve. Take the first step towards feeling better. Call 2024 today. Remember, you are not alone. Together, we can find a way forward. You deserve support in your journey to healing.
The Big Brother Mzansi house is giving spice. It's giving umlilo. So find some shade, because the housemates have entered the chat and they will tell what they must for the 2 meter. It's all about keeping it cool, even when they are seeing flames.
Big Brother Mzansi Season 5 starts Sunday, 12th January at 6 p.m. only on the home of local.
Big Brother Mzansi, proudly sponsored by Lotto Star.
Stephen Macauley's Resort and ZBC are hosting an epic roadshow at Stephen Macauley's Resort on Saturday, 22 February. Join us for a fun-filled day packed with fun activities like the Giant Swing and get to meet your favorite ZBC DJs and personalities. You also stand a chance to win amazing prizes, the grand prize being free executive accommodation for 2 at Stephen Macauley's Resort. Entry is $5 per person and $3 for kids under 12. For more information, call the following number 0779-080-906 or visit our social media pages at Stephen Macauley's Resort on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. This show is proudly brought to you by Stephen Macauley's Resort in partnership with ZBC. Stephen Macauley's Resort, an adventure and leisure paradise.
Thank you for staying with us and welcome back. Zimbabwe's construction sector value chains have received a boost after creditors of one of the country's largest cement manufacturers, Khaya Cement, approved a rescue plan for full-scale capacity.
A creditors meeting held this Wednesday marked the beginning of a roadmap towards resuscitating the firm that was placed under corporate rescue management in December last year. It emerged that despite the financial challenges, a roadmap tabled by the entity's corporate rescue practitioner, Mr. Bulisambano, towards its revival was approved by the creditors and investors.
The journey starts today. The creditors have confirmed that they're interested in reviving the business. They have allowed the business to continue as a going concern under corporate rescue. So that's the first step we require in the journey to resuscitate Khaya Cement Limited out of financial distress. So that's the first step. The second step now we have is to go and implement the short-term plans, make sure we've continued to put product onto the shelves, and then the plan is to have a solid plan by end of July.
Engagements with the creditors are cited as key in facilitating revival of the firm.
This was a very positive meeting to get confidence from the creditors that what was presented by the corporate rescue practitioner is something that is palatable and that they believe that will be beneficial to them and the company going forward. Shows the confidence that is generally there in our operation.
The meeting, which attracted a huge turnout of creditors and investors, also marked the journey towards finding solutions to safeguarding gains on cement availability and self-reliance for the commodity in Zimbabwe. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
With that, we take a break, but when we come back, Lawrence Trusida gives us the sport. Stay tuned.
The University of Zimbabwe opened applications for August 2025 undergraduate enrollment from the 10th of February to the 15th of March 2025. The institution is offering a broad and comprehensive range of undergraduate programs that are designed towards equipping graduates with the critical skills necessary for the development of the nation. These exciting programs are offered from the 11 faculties of the university, which represent the key sectors of the economy. These are faculties of Agriculture, Environment and Food Systems, Arts and Humanities, Business Management Sciences and Economics, Computer Engineering, Informatics and Communications, Education, Engineering and the Built Environment, Law, Medicine and Health Sciences, Science, Social and Behavioral Sciences, Veterinary Science. In addition, the University of Zimbabwe will be moving across the country to offer advisory services and facilitate application processes for the convenience of the public. Prospective students can visit any of the following centers to access these services. Details of application requirements and procedure are accessed on the UZ website www.uz.ac.zw and the Sunday Mail of the 9th of February 2025. Kuziva Kugona Nekuita. The University of Zimbabwe, educating to change lives.
Yes guys, nasi ndafunga kuenda kumusha. Ndimbo spend time with family rangu. Damu ndapenda mu chicken bazi. Munoizere chicken bazi. Chicken bazi.
Ngoma joro wakauya zvewe. Kwai wakabva Joni, angonese Jojedi. Vake vasina grocery.
Joro kumashops. Haitso vyasa hapana chaidzuka nacho nenungo dziri pape ungazinze ngoro negrocery pape.
Anga vangozara manene.
Kuna chiri kuzo.
Ndava ndaona mblazi mubazi. Anotaurisa munhu uyu.
Indonzi
Lee.
Tats. Yoruba uko.
Australia.
Alright. Kana tiwasimuswana kunana kutengesa unozotsvaga nezvanhu tu.
Sei.
Ndatatohama kudai sa.
Okay, bro.
Acheni.
Alright. Tubasi.
Why is it cats?
Tats.
Oh,
tats. Guys, ndaona munhu achitengesa chibage. And I haven't had chibage in maybe 10 years. Ndikati, imari chibage. $40. Munotora iko Ken? Alright.
Is 0773 426 300.
Alright. Yaita here.
Yaita, thank you.
Guys, chiri kunuirira. Ndazosvika kumusha manje.
Joy after joy. Step up with DSTV and we'll show up by giving you more incredible entertainment.
Going to have a little fun.
Upgrade your subscription between the 13th of January and the 31st of March and get an even higher package for a whole month on us.
To the back of the net!
There's nothing better than putting a little bit in but getting a lot out.
This is the time to take risks.
Incredible!
I've heard good things about you. Don't let me down.
Step up and we'll show up on your home of entertainment, DSTV.
Thank you so much for joining us for Sports News this evening. My name is Lawrence Tresida. We'll start off in Luanda, where the Zimbabwe senior women's football team, the Mighty Warriors, are set to face host Angola in the CAF Women's Africa Cup of Nations qualifier. The first leg set to be played tomorrow.
The host of the Khaya has rallied fans to come out in numbers and support the team as they take on Angola in the CAF Women's AFCON qualifier.
I am truly honored and humbled to receive this call-up, which is my first one, and I will do my best to resemble and represent our nation with pride to the best of my abilities. Last night's account was really good with the team. Everyone did welcome me and I felt quite comfortable, and yeah, we'll see what will happen in the next few days. Not much of an expectation on my end, as I best believe that it's not so much on my end, but I can only do what I can as a player, but I do trust in the capabilities of my teammates.
The return leg is scheduled to take place at the Lucas Moripa Stadium in Pretoria, South Africa a week later. A winner of the tie will face Malawi in the final qualifying round in October for a place of the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations finals in Morocco. Anna Shemrombedzi, ZBC News, Harare.
We say go mighty warriors, go. And we move on with football news. The Premier Soccer League has confirmed that this year's league campaign will kick off on the 1st of March.
The league authorities have confirmed that all is in place to kick off on the 1st of March as scheduled a week after the Castle Challenge Cup. Acting PSO Chief Executive Officer Rodwo Tabe also confirmed that all the stadia used last season have been approved to host matches this season. The Premier Soccer League was hosted in 13 stadia last season, including Rufaro and Hart in Harare, Papa Fields and Duveve in Blayo, as well as Colliery in Wange. Gweru had 2 venues, Ascot and Bata, while Sakuva in Mutare and Greenfield Arena in Chisumbanje also hosted matches alongside Nyamunga Stadium and Baobab Stadium in Mundurungezi. The confirmation of the available stadia is a welcome development to the fans as it provides clarity and certainty for the upcoming season.
The facilities that we previously used have not regressed. Instead, the clubs have been pumping in a lot of money, the private players have been pumping in money, and we are grateful to them. We are grateful to the private players, we are grateful to government, we are grateful to the City Council for trying to take our steps, a step forward further in terms of the stadiums being ready. So I'm confident that when we start the Kasalaga Premiership on the 1st of March, we should have enough stadiums to be able to accommodate all the 9 fixtures per round of matches.
The Gibo Stadium in Triangle, which is undergoing renovations, is expected to be ready in 2 weeks, while Ngoni Stadium in Norton is still far off. The PSO has also been working closely with the clubs to ensure they meet the required standards, with a focus on the 5 pillars of club licensing comprising sporting criteria, infrastructure, personnel, and administrative, legal, and financial. Meanwhile, the Castle Challenge Cup will take center stage this Saturday at Rufaro Stadium, featuring a mouth-watering clash between Castle Laga Premier Soccer League champions Simba Bora and Chibuku Super Cup champions Dynamos. Anna Shemrombedzi, ZBC News, Harare.
Moving on to golf news now. The inaugural Zodwa Mkandla Golf Tournament is set to tee off at Royal Harare Golf Club this Thursday, marking the beginning of an annual event that aims to bring professionals and corporates together to raise funds for the less privileged.
The first edition of the tournament is specifically designed to assist less privileged children with disabilities who are in need of wheelchairs and school fees from rural areas.
The golf day that we're doing tomorrow is to raise money to, look, we've been overwhelmed. There's so many people that are coming in that need help. So as a person, an individual, I'm not able to manage anymore. So I'm overwhelmed. So I'm having the charity golf day tomorrow to raise money for school fees and to buy electric wheelchairs for the less privileged. The reason why we're doing electric wheelchairs, we believe as a foundation that when someone is wheelchair bound, the person who is pushing and the person that is on the wheelchair, we then have 2 people that are on a wheelchair. So we want to do electric wheelchairs so that the person is independent. We want to give them mobile independency.
The tournament is expected to attract the corporate world from around the country, with this year's event focusing on local participation, while future editions will invite golfers from around the world to play and train youngsters. The event, however, is also aimed at reviving ladies golf, which has been lagging behind in recent years. To promote mobile independence for children with disabilities in rural areas, Zodwa Mkandla will donate electric wheelchairs to deserving beneficiaries. Anna Shemrombedzi, ZBC News, Harare.
And that reports from Anna Shemrombedzi concludes our sports news for this evening. It's now time for the weather update.
Hello, good evening Zimbabwe. My name is Daisha Mdona and this is the weather report in focus.
We recorded some notable falls across the country, with Mtasa having 154 millimeters, Hauna 104, and Nyakomba 55 millimeters was recorded. And on our satellite image and radar, we expect some widespread thunderstorms across the country, with heavier falls expected on the southern parts of the country. Mild and warm conditions are to be expected throughout the week. For our minimum temperatures tonight, a minimum of 17 is expected for Harare, 19 for Victoria Falls, generally mild conditions across the country. And for our maximum temperatures tomorrow, we expect Kariba to have a high of 26, Chiredzi 31, and most other cities will have temperatures below 30 degrees Celsius. And for our major cities and towns, Bulawayo, we expect wet conditions and cloudy conditions throughout the week. Harare, wet conditions with a high of 24 and a low of 17 tomorrow. Matobo, wet conditions are also expected with a minimum of 19 degrees Celsius. Masvingo, cloudy and wet conditions are expected. In Gwanda, most probable are cloudy conditions with a minimum of 19 degrees. Gweru, same conditions with a minimum of 17 degrees. Kwekwe, wet conditions are expected with a high of 27 across the week. Kadoma, wet conditions are expected with a minimum of 19 degrees for Thursday. Chinoi, as we get into the weekend, we expect a minimum of 18 degrees and a high of 24. Lupane, wet conditions are probable across the week, and we expect a high of 26 and a minimum of 20 degrees Celsius. Victoria Falls, same conditions, wet conditions are expected. Bindura, wet conditions across the week with a minimum of 18 degrees Celsius. Kariba, wet conditions are also anticipated with a high of 30 across the week. Maronde, I urge you to walk around with an umbrella with a minimum of 15 and a high of 24 across the week. Please do consider, if you're planning to travel to Nyanga, that it's going to be a wet week also. That is all from the weather desk today. Thank you.
And that's the way of the weather. We've come to the end of this bulletin. Have a good night.
Good night.
Faculty exists to provide legal scholarship, to also merge traditional and innovative ways of teaching, learning, assessment, pedagogy. We also provide cutting-edge legal education, training, and research.
I've been with this faculty since 2007, so that marks 18 years of continuous service, and I'm really excited to be part of this story, primarily because of the tradition and the legacy that the faculty has. It's the oldest faculty of law in the country. It has produced legal luminaries that have excelled locally, regionally, and internationally. So these are responses to the needs of the marketplace. Being in such a dynamic environment is definitely exciting for me.